Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spirit Bubble.
Hello, hello.
I'm Kara.
I'm Alma.
Our voices might sound a little bit off, I guess, because it's pretty late, isn't it, for both of us?
Oh, it really is pretty late for both of us. And I think we're both running short on sleep too. So our voices are like, hey.
Yeah, right. And yet at the same time, it's just like, just we feel this drawing to still do something. So we're like, you know what? We're gonna do it.
Let's do it. I
And
like it.
we're just gonna do it because if you stop yourself every single time you get tired or whatever, you're never gonna get it nothing.
Right. I agree completely.
Yeah. So today's video is gonna be something a little bit different from the usual discussions that we've had. We're gonna go into a little bit of our personal use of some divination tools. And today we are featuring Alma with her oracle and tarot readings because I know you have been doing it for so long. And
I have. I really have. And so as you mentioned, this is my connection to the divine. And so,
yeah,
as spirituality is something that we all practice it differently and how it comes to manifest for us. And
sure.
so in my journey, what I found was that tarot and oracle cards do a lot to help me express the inner muse in my mind in the moment. And so I'm looking forward to taking some time and talking about that.
Yeah. So when and how would you say that you had really realized this was going to be a part of your regular practice? Like where and how did it start?
Well, for me, tarot started, as I was beginning a journey of finding myself. Like it just came to me. I printed out my own deck on computer paper, cut it out,
Oh,
and that was the first, it was Rider Waite, the standard Rider Waite deck, and I used that to just begin divining messages. And I dived headfirst into that. There was no there was no guidance. There
no
was no,
instruction pamphlets or booklets or it just
no, it was just, I printed a deck of cards and I started using a deck of cards. And
really.
like, yeah, so really for me, that finding myself came with the deck because it became an extension of my mind that I could interact with and kind of better understand through the description of the cards or the meaning behind the different cards.
Yeah, okay. So it's just something that just it came to you and it just happened because it just did and it clicked.
That's exactly it. It was my time to start learning how to divine information, and it fell into my lap, and I opened myself wholeheartedly to it. And it was kind of funny because in the beginning it was something that the people around me, weren't exactly open to, because the idea of tarot is kind of it's esoteric, and we have a lot of negative connotations with divining information in a lot of real world ways. So, like, I was not only learning how to define myself, I was also learning how to be myself
Yeah.
in light of others not understanding what I was doing.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you mentioned how like it didn't seem like an accepted form because even of course paralleling all the time again in my raising having been brought to church every Sunday and into the generic Christianity, I was always told, oh, tarot is evil. Astrology is fake. Anything that deals with anything psychic or anything like that is all bad, bad, bad. And that's what really forced me to avoid it. So would you say like that did you have part of that problem or have you always been interested in it despite that outside stereotype?
Up until tarot fell into my lap, I can't say I really had an interest in it because I too had that generic Christian upbringing that
Mm,
kind of condemned these kind of practices. So it wasn't ever something that fell or came to me to be something to consider up until
right.
the point that it did. And then once it did, it just felt so natural that, I didn't want to fight it. So
Yeah.
it was just a part of my journey that fell in step with me. And I'm so glad that I found it.
So it was just kind of like a suddenly accepted. There was no like debate. Like once you had gotten interest, you didn't have any doubts or like, oh, I wonder if I should be getting into this or like reflecting back on potential outside opinion. You just,
At first, that
yeah.
was yeah, that was the time of the same time that tarot came into my life. My bipolar was swinging wildly out of control,
Uh,
which means that I was losing care or consideration for what other people thought of me. So
yeah.
like and I was a difficult person in that time because that
Yeah.
lack of care for what others thought, made it almost aggressive or confrontational when somebody didn't agree with what I
Yeah.
was doing. So,
Interesting.
tarot came to be an expression of myself.
Yeah.
And, in the beginning, all the cards and all the readings were positive and, like highlighted the future that I had ahead of me. And it was all gung ho, which it was real. It
Yeah.
did indicate like a good future ahead, which I'm living.
Yeah.
But it I wasn't in a place to be able to use the cards to see what was right before me. I was looking out into the future to find answers that I needed to feel better, but I wasn't using them to make my present moment better, which was part of the journey of learning how tarot came to mean what it does to me.
Yeah. And I guess that could be kind of a common assumption about things like readings is that readings is supposed to be like, oh, can you tell me if I'm going to get with this person? Oh, am I going to get rich? Am I going to land this job? I think that might be a very, do you find that to be a common question when people are coming to you for answers?
Oh, very, very common. People want to understand their place in the world better. And so often they think by knowing the future or what the future might hold,
Mm-hmm.
that will give them better understanding of what they need to be doing. But for me, it's a little bit different. I don't think the future is the guide to follow because I don't know the future. I haven't learned it. I haven't lived it. So I can't speak on it a moment before it gets here. Knowing that, I
Yeah.
use the tarot to reflect on the present moment, which is what is going on right now. We're living it. So the cards, I believe, play themselves out as they're most meant to in this moment to bring the message I need to hear.
Yeah.
And so it's a translation of this moment, not a future one that's yet to happen.
Right. When I think one of the things about the whole predicting the future thing is that, yes, there is a potential future that you could possibly foresee, but we as humans, we have a free will in order to bend our actions. And when we bend our actions based on what we know or we've been told and revealed, we have the power to change it as well. So just because one future is possible, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to happen. It just really depends on how we handle this moment leading up to it.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm right there with you. Like, the future is infinite possibilities. It could be any number of ways of how
Yeah.
it's going to turn out. And if you settle your mind onto just one outcome, it's very likely that that hope or expectation of that
Yeah.
working out is going to be let down. So
Yeah.
rather than trying to whittle down infinite possibility into understanding, I take what is in this present moment and try to shape it into my best self so I can greet the future's possibility in the best possible way.
Yeah. What would you say is the most common request you've had?
Oh, love readings. People want love
Oh,
readings.
really?
Oh, yes, they love I I think they want the metaphysical understanding that a divination tool offers to guide them how to better feel inside of a relationship.
And how do you
And
handle those kind of readings, though?
well, for me, I'm very upfront. I've never associated with the idea of being a psychic or having extra powers or gifts, so to speak. So the
Yeah.
cards are me translating myself in the moment rather than like a magic trick that I'm able to do. So I communicate, hey, I can't read the future. I can't read people's minds. I
Yeah.
use these cards to help understand how to better exist in this
Hmm.
moment. If you feel that'll help you in your relationship, let me do it. I'm here for you. But
Yeah.
if you think that this is going to give you information that doesn't exist, I can't do that. I'm
Yeah.
not your person.
I totally just realized too, I totally interrupted you earlier. You were going on something very exciting.
Oh goodness, I don't worry about that. The conversation has flowed and it's come to where it's at, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So love readings is your most famous. I could see that. I could see that because people they get so enamored in wanting to know who they're gonna be with. Is this person interested in them?
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
that's one way you can use tarot for sure to understand how you feel about things and people. So I get that, but like the way most love readings are asked, it's a very shallow, superficial, almost metaphysical snooping. It feels like people want to do. And I don't want to snoop. I
Yeah.
just want to help somebody feel better. So that's how I use the cards. And uh, so in that moment when they come to me with need for understanding, I try to dive bomb them with insight and intuition that guides them to a better understanding of the moment
Yeah.
rather than just giving them, oh, yes, you're meant to be with this person. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about this person and how they relate to you? Like, let's look at that. I have a
Yeah.
great 12 card spread. It's called the mirror, and
Oh.
it basically it lines up three cards that represent the mind, body, and heart for the person seeking information,
Yeah.
and then it lines up three cards of the same for the person they're seeking in the relationship. So basically insight into both sides of the equation. And then there's three cards that are the outer manifestation of the relationship, and three cards that are the inner purpose, like the spiritual journey that the relationship is on.
Wow.
And so it's actually a very fun reading to get to do
Oh.
because you get to connect a lot of pieces of the cards and see how they interplay with each other and the deeper meaning that you can come to in it.
That's so intricate.
Oh my gosh, yes. That reading alone takes like 3 hours to get through.
I was actually literally about to ask you that question. Was how long?
Hey, same page, thinking the same
Dang.
thoughts.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, going through 12 cards it's a lot because, the inspiration flows around the meaning of each card as it jumps. And then to take each card and tie it into other cards in the spread or
Mhm.
in the reading, it takes time and you can really, depending on how much time you give yourself, you can really get a lot of depth and profound insight into the moment.
Probably pages of information, probably.
Oh, absolutely. I have an Etsy site that I do my tarot readings for, and I offer those as kind of blind readings because I'm not able to know who I'm talking to. But I did a blind reading, a blind mirror spread for somebody, and I think it came out to be like 11 pages of information. Like it was just, there was so much to dig into, and it just all flowed freely. Like
Yeah.
it was really something to get into.
Okay. Oh, and speaking of the Etsy, definitely, guys, we will put a link in the description to that Etsy if you're absolutely interested in having an Alma reading experience. That will be your link.
Oh,
Um,
that's so exciting.
yes, definitely, maybe be able to receive that information and that experience of having such a good insight because just like even me personally, I've had readings from her before too, and it's just it's so insightful and detailed in considering all the aspects that more so involve like you and how you're handling and the health of everything and the wellness, and it's just it's very good. I definitely
Oh,
recommend it, so check it out. We will have the link in the description. I absolutely welcome you to give it a shot, and yes, I totally just advertised you.
yes, you totally did. I'm sitting here humbled that you're saying such great things
Yes,
about me.
I totally just did it. Yes, I am not crazy.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yes, I would definitely love to find more to read for. It's a magical experience, getting to connect with the cards because, the way I do them, I like to shuffle my decks and get
Mhm.
the energy of the moment shuffled into the cards. And then once I've shuffled them and arranged them, I start overhand shuffling them until I get what's called jumpers.
Oh.
Basically, cards that come from the deck on their own. It's not me choosing them. The energy of the moment pulls that card from the deck, which is like, it feels like magic. Like just
Oh,
watching the cards fall from the deck on their own and then
really?
seeing them lay themselves out in a spread and having that spread make sense. Like it's such an interesting thing, and I love getting to do it
Right.
for myself and for others.
What's been your favorite deck to use?
Oh, my favorite deck is my Zen Tarot deck.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
the the Zen Tarot deck is it's it's an um a remake of like the standard Rider Waite deck, but with a focus on the Zen aspect of being. So
Oh,
what And I like that because that's more about being in the present moment and witnessing it for what it is rather than using your judgmental or opinionated mind to judge the moment for what it could be. You let it manifest as what it is. And so I find this deck makes great readings and
really?
I connect to it really well. So that's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, because that's another thing about tarot too, is having the connection to your deck. Because you mentioned it's an extension of yourself, right? I mean, yes, it seems like it's just a deck of cards with pretty pictures and words and a booklet to go with it, some so on. But as being an extension of yourself, it's like creating a relationship with the deck.
It is. It very much is. I like that idea, that phrase you just said, creating a relationship with your deck. It is. Like, as it is an extension of yourself, you have a relationship with how that deck speaks to you.
Yeah,
So it's almost like a living reflection of your thoughts. And so how you interact with that deck
right.
changes from deck to deck. I have different decks that I use for different purposes. Like
Oh, please
I
share.
this deck, I want to show these two
Oh,
together. because what these are, my Dark Mirror deck and my Soul's Journey deck, this was actually thanks to you that, this came across.
I
Um,
remember that.
yes, you led me to shadow work readings. And so that Dark Mirror deck is a darker deck that allows for confrontation of the shadows and lies we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better. And so in that those two decks, I couple them together because the dark mirror represents the dark aspects of self we want to hide, while
Mhm.
the soul's journey deck represents the light that's in that darkness that you can find. And so I like to create a shadow work reading using those two decks.
I love that. And it's so important. I feel like the shadow work reading is equally important to those who can handle it because, we try to get these future readings, these love readings, these light readings, but, ignoring that can lead to some missing puzzle pieces.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
often that's it. Those missing puzzle pieces are the shadows that we don't want to see out of fear and
Oh,
doubt.
we
And
hide them.
so, yep, hide them, pretend they don't
Yeah.
exist, numb ourselves so we don't listen to the inner voice that
Yeah.
speaks their truth. There's a lot of running from that darker side of ourselves that so much of society kind of falls victim to. And so the shadow work reading takes those lies and those shadows and it presents it in a way that you can better understand how it's limiting you from fully experiencing the positive flow of life.
Oh.
And and that's why those light cards that are coupled with the dark are just so wonderful because shadow work readings can be hard to confront because it
Oh.
feels like you're being called out, like
Yeah.
just put on the just put on a show and just every detail ripped out of you,
Yeah.
and it's an intense experience, but the light is that you're going through it for a reason and you can find that meaning in that light. And so it's a great reading to get to go through.
Right. So it's essentially like instead of being told, you need to let go of this to be free, you're being told, you're just being jealous and clingy.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's so rash and straightforward. So you were meant to have that shadow deck.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It and I love that you have it as well, so we can share in that connection of understanding that darker side of
That
ourselves.
was
And
so exciting.
I know when we got
Oh,
it together and got to explore it together.
that was so exciting. It was so fun. I wonder if we'll ever run across another one that will do like that again.
I hope so. It's magical to get a new deck that you connect to, and then to get to connect to it with someone that you really care for and sync up with. It's a magical experience.
And I think that our humanity made it really easy to connect to that deck too.
Hmm. For
It's
sure.
did you notice whenever you were opening yours and exploring yours, it was just this instant connection?
Oh, absolutely. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, here you are. This is what you've been needing.
Uh-huh.
Take your next step.
That's why, like, when at first you were asking about which one I was recommending or which one I was looking up, I'm like, ooh, should I mention the shadow deck? I'm pretty sure she would understand. So I'm pretty sure it'd probably be intriguing. So I just kind of held back a little bit, and then it was like, you know what? I already know this is the one that I'm going to. There's just no, you know what? Yeah, this one is it. This one, and then this one I shared to you that link, and I was like, you know what? We're doing it.
Yep,
We're
that
doing
was
it. This is
exactly
it.
it. You dove in, and that was the deck that was right for you. It spoke to you in the moment, and then you shared it with me, and I was like, yes,
Uh huh.
I dig it too. So we
Yeah.
got to make that connection, which was awesome.
That is so cool. So you were given a tool to start doing that shadow reading, and it really kind of opened up another form of looking into you for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Another way
Yeah.
to explore through the cards, ways to help yourself
Yeah.
connect better with the divine.
Okay. Are there any decks that you have that maybe you feel like you've needed to create another connection to?
Yes. Let's see. I have two other decks that I like to use, but they're more for specialty readings for people that connect to the divine in their own way. Like I have this Starseed Oracle deck,
Uh huh.
and a, a big a big part of the spiritual circle is looking to define how you relate to the world around you. And a key word that's coming up a lot is starseed races. And so I'm finding myself crossing paths with a lot of people that are seeking more information around that line of thinking. So
Oh.
this starseed oracle deck was created with concepts that are related to the starseed races.
Wow.
So when I get to cross paths with somebody that feels connected to that branch of spirituality, to that branch of their being, I like to use that deck. And so that deck speaks to me as more an expression of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So like a deeper sense of knowing. So when somebody's really feeling disconnected, they're feeling at a loss for who they are and what they might need, I might pull out that deck to kind of guide them because it's full of a lot of love and openness and accepting energies that I think when you're disconnected from the soul essence of yourself, that deck might have some messages.
Oh, okay. So, do you try to like gather your information about the request before you pick the deck? Do you sometimes let them pick the deck that they want to use, or do you just go strictly by like what your intuition is feeling you about which deck?
I go intuition in the moment about whether I choose the deck or I let them choose the deck. It's all very free flowing. I don't have a lot of ritual or structure to how I do my readings for people. I kind of let the moment unfold and show
Right.
me what best needs to happen.
Okay.
So when someone comes with a star seed question or interest, I might mention to them that I have a star seed deck, but then I might also show them all my other decks. So if they feel pulled in one direction or another, they
Yeah.
can have access to that energy.
Oh, okay. What about in terms of like caring for the energy of the deck? What would you say is your routine when it, because like some people say that they need to air out their deck, they need to knock the energy out, they need to like charge or moonlight or sunlight or like what is your routine when it comes to maintaining your
For
cards?
me, I don't really have much of a routine for maintaining the cards, but I guess in a way, when I start to do my reading, I have a ritual that kind of manifests itself. Like when I finish a reading, I leave the cards of the reading face up on the deck as I put it away. So they're separated from the rest of the deck, and in my mind, I guess that feels like I'm letting the energy of the reading persist so that it can carry forward in the moment and transcend the moment as it's meant to. And
Okay.
then when I come back to the deck the next time for the reading, I take the time to individually take each card and place it in the right direction, back randomly in the deck. So I
Okay.
thank the cards for their understanding, for their message, for their connection as I place them back in the deck to ready for the next draw. And so that's kind of like my little ritual that purges the energy of the old reading and welcomes and invites the energy of the new reading.
Okay. So now that you've had some experience with doing several readings for others, and you kind of made it into your own spiritual practice. What would you say are different from your thoughts about tarot from the beginning to what they are now? Like what has changed about your perception?
For me, tarot taught me openness. And so in the beginning, I was very close minded to what tarot could be and what it could mean. I wanted it to have great meaning, but I wasn't open to the ways that meaning could help me yet. I just needed it to predict the future and tell me good things were coming.
Yeah.
Right? But like, I wasn't in the beginning at a place where I was ready to take what the tarot could tell me and use it to better myself. I needed the tarot to be the guide to get me there. And it sounds like it's a little mix of words, but really the journey of tarot was finding that I had a new way to see things and that the tarot itself was going to help me see things better.
Okay. So let's say someone were to come to you and tell you that they were interested in getting the tarot. What is some advice that you would offer for the beginning of their journey into that?
Don't worry about spending lots of money. Don't worry about getting the right decks. Well, you can worry about getting the right deck because it is about getting a feel. But knowing that I started my journey with a computer printed deck that was a PDF file for free on the internet, you don't have to spend money to be able to connect to a divination tool. Know that what feels right to you can be right for you, and that's okay. So open yourself up to the experience and let intuition guide you where you're best meant to be, because that's what tarot is. It's understanding your intuition and got inner guidance better. So the more you can trust yourself to connect to something, I say connect to that and let that tool guide you as you need it to.
Just let it happen,
Hmm.
basically.
For sure.
Just let it happen as it's gonna happen.
Hmm. No
Okay.
force, no pressure, no worrying, no stress. Just things happen as they're meant to be, and just be ready and open to that possibility.
Okay. I have heard before from several people that when you are going into your own into tarot, when you are starting to begin it, wow, that was totally an oxymoron. When you're starting to begin, just remember when you are a beginner in tarot and you don't have your own deck, I have heard from several saying that your first deck should be gifted to you.
I've heard that as well, but not everybody's in a place to be gifted a deck,
Yeah.
where they might not be surrounded by people that are supportive of that path. So it would feel hard to it almost might feel like a pressure to be gifted that. So
Yeah.
if in time you have to gift yourself your first deck, that's okay too. Like,
Oh.
because honestly, my first deck was recommended to me. Like, someone that was big into tarot, had a lot of tarot decks and experience with them, was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I think you would really like this deck." And I took her recommendation and I bought it. So my first deck that came to me was one that I bought for myself.
Okay.
Unless you consider the one I printed in the very beginning, that was a free gift because it was just a free PDF on the internet.
I mean,
So
technically, the one you bought was still a gift because you were gifting yourself.
exactly, exactly. So, really, it's all how you frame it. Like, limitations on enjoyment, you don't need to worry about those. Like, if something was gifted to you or not, if you have a connection to it, if it helps you, then let it be that and don't worry about how others judge
Oh,
it or what other, rules others come up with. Do
oh,
what works for you because this is a chance to better understand your relationship with the divine and
yes.
others' opinions, you know, may not matter in the grand scheme of things because it's your connection, your relationship, your intuition.
Oh, that's so important to know. I'm so glad that you shared that.
Thank you so much for this chance to
Yeah,
have kind of really gotten to dive into the
yeah,
heart of how I express my
yeah.
spirituality.
That is so freaking awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to explore this path for yourself and that you're able to have the experience to share that information with others so that way when they're going into it they won't feel like they have to do something a certain way and can really give it
Yes,
a
very
little
much
try.
so.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I'm still gonna put the link to your Etsy in there.
I appreciate that. You got my back.
Guys, if you want to give it a shot, if you want to see what her cards can reveal to you, definitely click on that. Because we love doing this kind of stuff just simply even because of the fact that we can.
Yes, very much so.
And it's even the very reason why we even started these little video series, it's just because we can, you know?
We can and we feel motivated to. So,
Yes.
yes,
And
if
it's
you're interested, join, like,
yeah.
reach out, shout out. We want to be a part of your spiritual journey. Let
Yeah.
us know what you need insight into, and maybe we can help you in the moment.
Or what have you gained from tarot? What's been your favorite tarot experience? Have you ever had it? What are your thoughts on it? Like always, we love discussion. We love seeing responses and getting to know what the difference of your journey, in this case, your tarot journey is compared to what Alma's is, maybe compared to what mine is, because it's all so unique in its own way.
And it's just a beautiful thing to get to explore.
It is. And it's so, I notice how there's so many more decks becoming available these days too. So definitely the selection is there.
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm in a Discord server with somebody that owns 3,000 I'm sorry, more than 3,000 decks, approaching close to 4,000. So the
Yeah.
variety and availability is definitely there if you're looking for it.
Wow. I wonder how they choose which one to use.
They regularly rotate. They're a professional reader, obviously.
Okay.
So, yeah, so they rotate like 50 decks a month
Ooh.
to use just to keep cycling through what they have.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would have trouble keeping track of that many.
Yeah, I
Like
would too. I would have to have a whole bedroom. Like, I'd have to have a room just for like tarot and divination alone.
they have a wall of
Oh,
storage tubs, like that's basically shelves full of crates of tarot cards just
wow.
to house all of that. So it's
Oh my
they
goodness.
we all have our interests and our hobbies. They forego other things to make tarot their thing. So, you
Yeah.
know, that's that's
Yeah.
a that's really cool. Like I can't imagine having so much access to just unlimited tarot.
I hope that this discussion has been able to open you guys' uh, thoughts and minds and considerations to something that maybe you may have been afraid to touch or something that you weren't sure was right for you, whatever, anything that you want to ask about it that would help guide you in your tarot journey. We're always glad to help you. Um, like I said, Alma has her Etsy. She does this regularly. I do a little bit, not as much as her, but we'd both definitely be happy to answer your questions. But we are definitely we're a little short on time now, so we're gonna have to go ahead and cut it. Yes, and I think we are both probably still pretty tired.
Oh, very much so.
But I want to thank you all so much for joining us. It's been very interesting getting to know the journey of our friend Alma here.
Yes, thank
And
you so much for the chance.
yes, and maybe in a future video soon, maybe I'll be able to talk about mine too. So,
Yes, I definitely want to venture into your side of spirituality so you can get a chance to share how you developed your relationship with the divine.
that way you guys can get to understand a little bit about both of us. But thank you so much, Alma, for answering my questions and explaining your process and your story about it. So, guys, share it, share your story with us.
Yes, please.
We'd be happy to know. We love talking about it. We love sharing. We love getting to really connect to each other. So definitely comment, like, subscribe, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
You guys have a good night.